All right, so let's go back to sprint training. So how do you know sprint training are you doing it right? So you need to go all out 10 to 30 seconds, and the recovery starts when you hit zone one. Why do you need zone five training? Do you need sprint training? Now we can dive into the deeper dive into what happens into zone one to understand why is it important to rest longer in your sprint interval training, because I think a lot of people don't stay in the zone one. If we go back to this picture here, when we look at zone five sprints, recovery, if you look over here, it's kind of blurry. Work to rest ratio is 1 to 2. So 30 seconds means 60 seconds recovery. Now, why do you need to work on recovery? So I always like to ask mechanism of action. We can look at the benefits of enough recovery so you can go hard again. So sprinting generates high lactate levels, need to be cleared to maintain performance. Zone one, very low intensity, allows for lactate clearance via the Cori cycle. If you have incomplete recovery, leads to accumulated fatigue, reduced power output, and longer recovery times. Now, getting into zone one supports mitochondrial function, fat oxidation. High intensity efforts use glucose metabolism, which you're suppressing fat oxidation. Zone one encourages the body to shift back into fat metabolism, allowing you to improve your metabolic flexibility. And then the third point here, maximum sprint performance. This is needed so you can improve those speeds. Your sprint is getting faster, not slower every time. Proper recovery, each sprint rep decreases in power output if you don't have the right recovery. So a full recovery from your sprint training allows this ATP, PC, adenosine triphosphate, phosphocreatine system replenishment, allowing for max effort each sprint. So if you're not coming down into yet zone one, you're just probably in zone four and not coming down all the way and back up. So sprint interval training is that ATP PC system, ATP stored in the muscle, and creatine phosphate, making sure you're getting that from your food. And we need to supplement, especially women, 3 to 5 grams a day. I use Keon creatine. So get a discount code if you want to order some, ask me. Now, 10 to 30 seconds glycolytic is glucose metabolism, increasing lactate buildup. Key response, you get more higher power output. Really what I'm looking for as I get older, I want to get faster, leaner, stronger, and get more power. And that's what I have to work harder to get. Now, fast twitch muscle fiber. What happens as we age? We get less fast twitch muscle fibers for us females, even more than men, but this helps us not lose as much fast twitch muscle fibers. So then we have this zone one recovery, active recovery. This is improving our mitochondria function. Oxidative system clears lactate. The oxidation restored as the heart rate drops. How does this work? We're clearing lactate through this Cori cycle. So listen to Ben Bickman and his Metabolic Classroom podcast. Really good episode on lactate metabolism. And I did a great interview with Joe Friel. You can find on my YouTube channel video podcast section. So lactate can be converted into glucose in the liver and replenishes your ATP PC stores. In this recovery time, you need 3 minutes for full recovery, which no one really does that I know of. Promotes fat oxidation, metabolic flexibility. So zone 5 to zone 1, this is the point. Got it? Now, a great little chart I had my friend GP make: sprint interval, intensity, work to rest, recovery. Okay, so remember, I don't want to look at max effort if I'm doing your tests. We're not going by percentage. That's math. We're using science. What is your top peak heart rate? How high of heart rate can you get? That's your sprint interval. How, not a percentage. So ignore these percentages and go high as you can. And then once you do a fitness test, sample report, we get you back into your zone 1. Feels like you can maintain this intensity for hours, easy to breathe, carry conversation. Recovery is zone 1. Okay, I just wanted to go over that again. So sprint interval training, Tabata, those are examples. You can do 20, 30-second sprints, 30 to seconds, 8 times 20 seconds is the Tabata. Now, why you need to work on recovery. Perform sprints on fresh legs to avoid excessive fatigue. Prioritize full recovery. Avoid incomplete rest between sprints. Incorporate low intensity sessions on 1 and 2 on your non-sprint day. So don't try to do HIIT training, sprint training back to back to back days. I want you to do zone 1, 2. Next day you maybe do zone 2, then you finish with sprints. You got to warm up and warm down. Middle section, think it's like your appetizer, zone 1, zone 2, your main course is sprints, and then your dessert is recovery, right? So fueling properly. Stacy Sims is all over podcasts explaining this. So if you don't know about fueling for the workout at hand, looking at what fuel source you are using. So I found some great images on Google. So you'll see these in the blog notes here. I didn't write this. This is just notes. Now, why do we need to do all this? What's the point? Mitochondria biogenesis. When we're talking about improving how we age to be fit and healthy from the inside out at a cellular level, working on a mitochondria, we are speaking about the mitochondria biogenesis, creating new mitochondria within the cells to improve our cellular energy production, endurance, metabolic efficiency, overall health, and increasing more mitochondrial capacity, creating new ones helps you improve your fat oxidation. So when you have a poor score on your report of fat oxidation, when we go back to my PNOE testing I do, if we go up, sorry, looking at fat burning efficiency, calculate, looking at the crossover point, switching fat to carbs. If this is scored low, I'd be curious to look at your other labs, look at your blood chemistry panel, oxidative stress panel, organic acids, and looking at your mitochondria health. How do you stimulate mitochondria? We're going to look at stimulating new with the AMPK. We talked before about biogenesis is stimulated with pathway AMPK. How do you do this? We've talked about the benefits of AMPK from fasting for years, and then we realized, oh, us athletes, we don't need to fast. We're getting the same benefits with exercise. Imagine that. Fasting or cold exposure and nutrition. Nutrients, we'll talk about trim, exercise. So what I'm actually drinking now to prepare for an interview is called Avere. Oops, hold on. Avere Life Trim. And you can see the benefits of the nutrients in their product. I'm doing pre-workout if I'm doing a zone 2 workout, or if you're trying to improve fat oxidation. So Avere, their nutrition comes in this packet, and you can see the ingredients are here. And so when we talk about what fuel source, how to improve our mitochondria, we want to look at the exercise, fat burning, AMPK, mitochondria, zone 2, interval training, and then this AMPK ingredients. So lots of E vitamins, but the blend at the bottom, what you want to look at is this: green tea, curcumin, pomegranates, L-theanine, moringa, berberine, resveratrol. So that's what I'm drinking in my bottle right now. Now, how do we create new mitochondria? Zone 2 is your peak fat max. Again, ignore percentage. We're doing what you're tested. This is enhancing mitochondria enzyme activity because we're stimulating the PGC1 alpha. Now we can look at your genetic report too and see how your genetic SNPs are against this fat oxidation. If you struggle more, you might need to supplement with the trim and how you're training. Now, high intensity interval training can also activate PGC1 alpha, high energy demand, and increases your reactive oxygen species. So more oxidative stress is created the more intense workouts, less oxidative stress, lower intensity. So you need to really look at your oxidative stress load if you're doing a lot of hard workouts. But creating mitochondria stress can be with the high intensity interval training 2 to 3 times a week, not every day. Maybe you're doing 30 seconds all out, 2 to 4 minute recovery. That just means active recovery, easy zone 1, right? You're not sitting still. Strength training just works on increasing your fast twitch muscle fibers, and that can help mitochondria density, increasing more muscle. Cold therapy, mitochondrial function, brown fat can help activate PGC1 alpha and AMPK. Women, around 50 degrees. Ice baths. Sauna is what I do. It's a lot more comfortable than cold plunge, but this helps protect the heat shock proteins, protect mitochondria, and enhance oxidative capacity. I do this about 4 days a week in sunlight and sauna. Fasting ketosis. If you're not exercising, this is a way you can do your mitochondria, fat metabolism, mitochondria efficiency, 16-8. This is for non-athletes, right? So we've learned that the hard way. We all did all this fasting, realized, oh, I'm exercising too. I don't have enough energy on board. I'm breaking down my muscle to get energy. So non-athletes, non-exercise days, you can do some fasting to improve your AMPK pathway. Red light therapy, I'm using Flex Beam and putting that on my belly when I'm in the Normatec boots. I'm also using Kineon. It's a smaller one, so I can place it doing around my neck, on my thyroid, on my around my knees after workouts. Red light therapy is big because it supports mitochondrial repair and cellular energy. And then nutrition, magnesium, CoQ10, PQQ, alpha lipoic acid, creatine, NAC. So this is where I'll leave you today. I just want to do the short version, but why create more mitochondria? Takeaways here. Increase fat oxidation, metabolic efficiency, ATP production, delays fatigue, improve recovery, supports longevity, cellular health, more resilience, less oxidative stress, increase insulin sensitivity, really important, metabolic flexibility. So takeaways, zone 2, training that peak fat max, foundational training, the oxidation, HIIT training, and strength training are needed as well. But how much is right for you? We need to figure that out. Are you doing cold plunge? Are you doing it too much? A lot of people do too much. Sauna to create the beneficial acute stress. Remember, it's beneficial because it's acute, but if you're doing anything excessive, it gets to be chronic and it's not beneficial. Enhances mitochondrial renewal with the fasting, ketosis, red light therapy. All right, so next video, we'll come back and talk about strategies to improve your metabolic crossover point. All right, so let's pause here and go for an exercise break. Thank you.